If you saw a roof corner, a wooden gate, or paper-thin walls, you'd probably say, Japan.
Japan's architecture is instantly recognizable, soft, precise, and strangely powerful at the same time.
Start with the silhouette. Wide eaves and sharp roof edges that feel like a protective gesture. Then the materials, wood, paper, plaster, bamboo, chosen to be felt, not just seen.
And the boundaries stay flexible. Screens slide, spaces shift, and the building keeps negotiating with nature. Even the calm geometry is memorable, a human-scale grid that makes emptiness feel intentional.
Different eras, same DNA. Roof lines that announce Japan before you notice anything else.
Remember this phrase. In Japan, a building is a series of gentle thresholds, not a sealed box.
So why did this look evolve here? And why did it survive into the modern city? The answer begins with weather, risk, and daily habit. Three forces shaping the same architectural language.
Japan is humid and rainy, so homes learn to breathe. Raised floors, airflow, and deep eaves that keep walls dry.
Instead of fighting the climate, Japanese design uses shade and ventilation to make comfort feel natural. Then earthquakes. Heavy stone can fail brutally, but wood can flex, survive, and be repaired.
Flexibility isn't weakness here. It's an engineering philosophy built into tradition.
Japan also had forests and timbercraft, turning wood into a national building habit over centuries. Culture matters too. Many spaces are designed for rituals, clean entry, calm interiors, and respect for the pause before action. Japanese architecture often celebrates the in-between, the moment of transition that changes how you move and behave.
That's why shadow is treated like a material. Deep eaves create calm before you ever decorate anything.
The seasons become part of the design, because buildings frame nature instead of blocking it out.
So the Japanese look is a response, climate, earthquakes, and a culture that values measured, mindful space.
Now let's get practical. How is this architecture actually built, from skeleton to detail?
The secret is simple. Structure first, walls second, so the building can stay open, light, and adaptable.
Once the frame exists, the boundaries can move, sliding panels instead of permanent walls, space that changes with life.
This is post and beam construction. Vertical posts and horizontal beams carry the load, freeing the interior to stay flexible.
Traditional joinery locks wood with precision, turning craftsmanship into strength you barely notice.
When the design is quiet, the tolerance must be perfect, because every imperfection becomes visible.
Tatami is more than flooring. It's a planning module that quietly standardizes room proportions around the human body.
That grid creates balance. Rooms feel calm, repeatable, and naturally scaled to how people actually live. The Engawa veranda is a signature move, neither inside nor outside, but a buffer that turns weather into scenery.
It's environmental control without machines. Shade, breeze, and adjustable screens doing the work.
At Shinto shrines, architecture guides behavior. Paths, gates, and thresholds that slow you down before you enter. The forms can be minimal, but every element signals meaning. Clean geometry, honest materials, and ceremonial markers. Buddhist temples add weight and layering. Gates, halls, pagoda forms. Architecture that feels permanent and spiritually grounded.
Those stacked roofs aren't just visual drama. They're a structural rhythm that manages scale, rain, and proportion.
Castles bring another icon, elegance built on defense, with stone bases and carefully controlled viewpoints.
The beauty is strategic, strong foundations, complex roofs, and surfaces designed to withstand both weather and conflict. Even circulation is engineered. Tight roots, sudden angles, and vantage points that turn architecture into advantage.
Modern Japan keeps the principles but upgrades the tools. engineered timber, steel reinforcement, and precise detailing. In dense cities, the same DNA becomes compact. Small footprints, clever storage, and light borrowed from tiny gaps.
The space feels effortless, but it's engineered. Every millimeter planned, every surface doing more than one job.
Even concrete can feel Japanese when it follows the rules. Simple forms, clean edges, and light treated like a material.
And seismic engineering is everywhere, designing buildings to move safely so the city can stand back up after a shake.
So the how is consistent. Disciplined structure, flexible boundaries, and obsessive attention to detail.
Now follow the money, because Japan's simplicity is often the most expensive kind of beauty.
First cost driver, skilled labor. Precision takes time, and time is the real premium in high-craft architecture. When structure is exposed, materials must be exceptional. Straight, stable timber that won't warp or betray the design. Second big cost, the roof. That iconic silhouette needs complex detailing, drainage control, and durable finishes. The roof isn't just shelter, it's identity, so the budget concentrates where the eye remembers the building.
Third, earthquake resilience. Engineering, specialized connectors, and sometimes base isolation add serious cost for safety.
And don't forget the in-between. Decks, thresholds, and gardens are designed spaces, not leftovers, and they cost accordingly.
Finally, the symbols. Details so consistent you can read them like a language, even without words. A torii gate isn't a wall or a door. It marks a boundary, telling you you're crossing into a different kind of place.
Thresholds matter. A change in texture, a step, a pause. Architecture teaching you to slow down and notice.
Townhouse latticework filters light and protects privacy, while still showing that life is happening inside.
Shoji and paper act like built-in lighting design, turning direct daylight into a calm, diffused glow.
And shadow is a signature material. Deep eaves compose with the sun instead of fighting it.
This isn't emptiness. It's room for life, movement, and meaning, with decoration reduced to what truly matters. Today, Japan remixes its own DNA, ancient principles surviving inside modern materials and dense urban constraints. Microhouses feel like origami, folding space, borrowing light, layering privacy without losing calm.
Modern timber buildings can feel both futuristic and ancient because the core idea is still precision and warmth.
Even in concrete, you can recognize Japan when forms stay simple, edges stay exact, and transitions remain sacred.
Even the tea house teaches a lesson. A low entrance slows you down, reminding you to enter with humility. Inside, meaning hides in small places, like the tokonoma alcove, where one object can carry the whole room's emotion. Entry itself is architecture. The Genkan creates a clean boundary between street chaos and interior calm. Temples also prove the engineering. Huge timber platforms, layered roofs, and structures that feel light despite their scale.
That lightness comes from logic and craft. Precise frames, repeatable parts, and joints that distribute forces through the wood.
If you wonder where money goes, watch the roof. Materials, labor, and weatherproof detailing all stack up at the top.
The roofline is memory, so Japan invests in durability where the eye always returns, especially under relentless rain. Even simple paper screens involve skill, materials tuned to soften light, survive humidity, and keep rooms breathing.
Minimal walls demand perfect surfaces. Plaster finishing becomes a craft because the design leaves nowhere to hide mistakes.
And the garden is architecture too. Composed views, careful stone placement.
Japan designs for movement. Letting structures flex safely is often cheaper than pretending the earth will stay still. What's remarkable is the coexistence. Old forms beside new towers, the same principles surviving different materials.
In the city, constraints sharpen the style. Tight plots force smarter light, storage, and circulation, not louder decoration.
Engineered timber extends tradition. Bigger spans, safer performance, and the same warmth that made wood Japan's first choice. Concrete can still feel Japanese when it respects shadow, proportion, and silence, turning emptiness into emotional weight.
So remember the formula. Recognize the roof and textures, ask why, see how it's built, then follow the money and symbols.
Try it yourself. From a single detail, you can often identify Japan, because the same principles repeat across centuries. That's why, from one silhouette, you can say, without hesitation, this is Japan.
A quiet architecture of thresholds built for wind, water, and time. Still unmistakable, still deeply modern.
Next, we'll use the same lens on another country. Spot the icon, ask why it exists, and follow how it's made.